Good morning. Hand today is going to be King Queen. We are in the cutoff. We have a limper, I isolate, and he calls. So let's go over this guy's range. We've got some information. I did not look at all of this. I know there's like limp and called range. I didn't look at this because I know it's going to one of the hands that's listed as probably this hand. So what I'm going to do is just look at the stats. He's playing 52-20. He's playing half the hands. When we look at like where's he playing at, he's playing look like every hand out of the blinds. And then he's a little bit more discriminant early on. Pre-flop raises look to be about 20% or so. Maybe a little bit smaller in the early position, but it's small sample sizes. Limp first in's 8%. So I kind of am thinking about he's going to be more than likely raising and then raising instead of limping. So I started off with something like this, but that's 23%. And I think this is probably too much for a limp. It's a good chance that he's raising with many more of these hands than what I have here. So I'm going to take out some of these, going to take out, some of the stronger hands that he has in his range. And leave some of these other ones. So that's 17%. I do think he's probably checking or limping with like the offsuit connectors, or I'm sorry, the offsuit connectors and then suited gappers. Probably the weak suited connectors. It's the suited aces that are kind of unknown. Would he raise with ace 2 through ace 5 and then limp with like these middle ones? If we think about hands that are stronger, ace 8 ace 5 are probably equivalent. Ace 7 ace 4 probably ace 9 and ace 5 are probably equivalent. Ace 8 ace 4 probably equivalent. Ace 7 ace 6 probably better than ace 3 and ace 2. It's one of these, even though you've got suited aces, these you make the wheel, but you're really going to be at the low end of the wheel. So I think we're just going to go with here. We do see that he does have a limp and call raise at 2 out of 2. And this is before this hand. So I kind of feel like if I raise here, he's going to be calling with a lot of these weak hands. Yeah, I have some of those same weak hands in my range, but I've got a lot more stronger hands. So if we just do like always ISO, that's going to be a pretty darn strong range. Maybe that's what we do. Because we figure he's going to call. Let's do that. We figure he's going to call, so we're going to do always ISO and try to punish him for calling with all these weaker hands. So that's going to be my range, and he does call. So we take a flop of 10-6-2. This does not hit. Matchup whatsoever with our hand. We've got 2 overs. We've got a gut shot. I should say backdoor straight draw. So he checks to us. No big surprise. We do have some information on his flop play. So donked paired flop without trips or better. Donk's flop with top pair or better. Raise flop c-bet with overpair or less and no draw. Play turn draw aggressively and so forth. This board's unlikely to hit me. It probably doesn't hit him either. That's the thing. He's got a fold c-bet. He's out of position. I think this is probably a hand where we could be c-betting nearly 100% because we're so much stronger than he is, and he's got so many weaker hands. Yeah, the weaker hands are going to have a pair. So the question is, what does he call with? I'd say call or raise with. We're going to say all pairs is what he calls with. And then obviously the flush draw, and we'll give him the gut shot. So it's 79%. It means he's only folding 20%. So while it looks good to go ahead and c-bet everything, we know we can't just based on this based on his range and his odds of calling. We're not going to get that fold equity that we need. So because of that, let's see what we can do. So I think a set, I think overpair, probably betting, but probably not a whole lot of top pair hands. So we got our flush draw that we're betting. Probably some 2-card backdoor flush draws. Those will include like overcards too. And then what we're going to probably have to do is do some of these no-made hands. Maybe like ace-4, ace-5. We throw those in there as our bluffs, additional bluffs. And that's about it. I think that's all we're going to do. That's all that we should do. I see that here. Now as we review it, I don't really like it. I'm going to continue with the range that I was betting. So he calls. So we've already have picked out his range that I think he would call. Turns the 8 of clubs. Obviously that could hit us, but that could also hit him, and I think he's going to have more of those flush draws, relatively speaking, because his what was our starting hand? 164 versus 141. Yeah, I guess we both have. He just has slightly more. He has more combos of those club draws. So I kind of expect him to check again, and then it's on us. And I did check. So the question is, after this turn card, what do I continue betting? I think I continue betting the flush. I go for that for value. And that's at 16%. That's going to be hard to balance. But I think we could balance it with like the nut and the second nut flush draw. And then we're going for a no-made hand. Again, maybe like ace-4, ace-5. Actually, we only need one of these. So that was the 8. Possibly ace-9, because we start blocking some of the internal cards. Some of the straights. Like if he had 7-8, he's going to probably call again. But we have a 9, so that's going to block it. Maybe something like that. But we'll do ace-5. I think is what we'll do. Ace-5 also blocks the bottom end. That would be our bet, and then that means we are checking these. All right, and let's X those out. So we still have some flush draws in our range. So we're gonna have like third and the weak flush draw. We're gonna have some gut shots still in our checking range and so forth. So let's check. We're gonna check. Turns the 5. Villain checks. At this point, I don't think he's going to check like ace, the nut flush, or probably the second nut flush. I'll give him the third nut flush and weaker. I'll give him straight sets, 2-pair, 2-pair. Kind of give him everything else for his checking range. I'm not sure if he's going to be aggressive enough to bet here. I kind of feel like if he had the nut flush, he would. So that's going to be his checking range. And if I bet, what do I think he's going to fold? If I bet, I think maybe we're going to get him to fold middle pair to weak pair. So we're at 52%. So it was at 70. We're going to get him to fold maybe 50% of the time, if that. If my read of him is accurate. So I think we would have already had been betting the flush. So we checked here. I think we could bet the set because we're going to get paid by, top pair, 2-pair, and possibly the middle pair. He might call. So I do think we can go for a little bit of value with the set. Maybe a little bit of value if we bet small with the over pair. I think the top pair is going to be showdown, and I think we balance with nothing. And that's, I don't even think we can do all of these. We're going to have way too much. Maybe just that. Maybe just aces and, a set. Try to go for a little bit of value. I checked, and I'm okay with that with my hand. I don't think we ever should have c-bet this, but it is what it is. So villain shows fours. Is that in his range? Yeah, we had it. It's one of those weak pairs that we had. He did call. So any pair he called on the flop. Could we have gotten him to fold on the turn? Yeah, probably. But again, we have to think about our entire range. If it just becomes we bet, players are going to call with any pair. They're going to call us down. Or they're going to start raising us or check raising us. So we can't go, we can't become so lopsided, so aggressive that every time we bet, we're going to have a massive range in our hand. Sometimes we just have to accept the fact that the board's really not going to hit us and isn't going to mesh well with our range, and we're just going to have to kind of slow it down and hope that the cards, the turn or the river like pairs us up so we could do something with it. So yeah, while I think I probably could have been aggressive and gotten him to fold, this is not. I don't think we should. We can't beat ourselves up over this. I think I was making the correct play, other than the c-bet. I think we should have checked. All right, so if we look at limp and call to raise, yeah, 3's to 4, Jack 9 suited, 10-8 suited, 7-4 suited, Ace 8 off, Ace 2 off. So maybe we revise. Ace 8 off. He had 7-4 suited. We really just do that? I think it's 22%. It doesn't really change a whole lot. Maybe change just some percentages. Increases the number of combos he has, but yeah. All right, so I think that's it. Hopefully you enjoy this hand. If you do, look tomorrow for another one.